Hello, and thanks for joining me on Voice Gang Stalking. I really do appreciate anybody listening, and I hope this is offering something positive if you're a TI going through your campaign, trying to figure out what's what. And I hope it's offering to anybody who is not unfortunate enough yet to be a TI and just informing themselves about the reality in our society called gang stalking. I'm going to touch on what a campaign looks like when it's first getting up and rolling actively and you're made known of that, and what that looks like in a person's life and how that shows up, really. And talk about a couple episodes. We talked about episodes, street theater being just that the last time, in the last video, excuse me. But talk about a different kind of episode that we haven't talked about yet, that I think gets skipped over a lot when TIs are talking about their sensitization process and the over-the-top episodes and drugging that come along with that, and the terror and the stalking, maybe for that particular week or day of your personal campaign, which is ongoing all the time, but they like to come and really kick it up a notch about once a month, once every couple months, once every few weeks. And then after that, it's always there, but it's a light activity, usually. All right. I guess the best way to talk about how a campaign begins and what that looks like is to share a little bit about my personal campaign. It began about 2 years before I was made aware of it. That is so they can build up information, essentially build a case against you. They are collecting evidence against you, documenting your whereabouts, your routine, figuring everything out about your life so that they're gearing up for an attack. They're preparing their arsenal, really. Now, my campaign, and this is the trend through every TI story that I've read about and has been shared with me. These campaigns don't start abruptly. It's not something that happens overnight. It's a blending into your life and integrating. In the last video, we talked about the street theater and the real purpose of that, and brainwashing to integrate the mind, the two sides of the brain together so that you don't know what is what. That's why it's all blended in, and it makes it more effective. It keeps you lost longer because you think it's something you've done, maybe a part of your character. Maybe you wronged someone in the beginning. It'll look like your campaign. My campaign in the beginning looked like it was an ex-boyfriend that had gone psycho and was stalking me, but that wasn't it. Then it looked like it was a random stalker. That turned out to be a synthetic reality. Then it's attempted to look like it was the LDS church and get me to latch onto that. That didn't work. It morphs into a variety of different synthetic realities. And that's ultimately what gets a targeted individual in trouble, is that these realities that are created are so real, and there's so much work that's gone into making them seem real. There's a reason why TIs are latching onto these and running with these realities that are presented and put on for them, because they are so real, or seemingly real. So it's a blending into your life. So there's usually about a year period where you don't know what's going on. You have your suspicions. Like I said, you think it's this, you think it's that. It's none of these things. It's none of these things. It's not the Stasi secret police. None of these things. It's not the government. It's pieces of the corrupt government portion of the government. And in the beginning, the campaign, well, not just in the beginning, the whole time it's an active campaign and you're suspicious and then made aware of it, it's always gaining momentum. It's always progressing. And then eventually it takes on its own momentum. And a targeted individual is now running their own campaign and they've become their own worst enemy, jumping at their shadow. Now, it doesn't need a lot of funding or a lot of on-foot perps. Your sensitization process is set in, your brainwashing, the color campaigns, the noise campaigns, that all just has to have a switch thrown and they will create the desired results in you and cause you to act out those results at times if you still don't know what's going on or you're just really behaving the way you shouldn't be as a TI. At this point, you know better and you need to clean up your act. And if you are still in stores acting out towards perpetrators and getting in yelling matches and following them, taking pictures of their license plate, I highly recommend getting pictures of their faces if necessary and if doable. But I wouldn't go chasing these people around, following them. That's what they want you to do. And they want you to get upset. They want you to get mad. So as a TI, if that's what you're doing and you have an anger problem, you just should plain know better by now to not be reacting to these things. Of course, from time to time, that can't be helped. These are very, very traumatic threats and events. But if you're going places, you're acting out everywhere you're going, you just plain know better and you need to get your shit together. I myself have an anger problem, and this is something that I've had to check. This has caused an anger problem in me. Let me be clear about that. I wasn't an angry person before my campaign, but definitely, well, not on the surface anyway. I wasn't. But it agitates a TI, and it brings out the worst in a person. And now you might be asking, no, not might be, you are asking, why me, why me, why me? And anybody you're expressing these things to is asking you the exact same thing. Well, a lot of these campaigns are initiated just randomly, because the campaigns are for experimentation and seeing how far person can be pushed and seeing the human being's limits and how much a person can take. So it makes absolute sense that they would be choosing random individuals, which definitely coincides with the experimentation theory program, which isn't a theory at all. It is in fact true. I myself am a specimen, and any other TI, as you well know. And, okay, once entered into the final stage of your program, which is full knowledge of the community and its workings, it's like waking up with a totally different set of eyes. I remember I woke up one morning, the night before I had full knowledge, and it changed everything. But when I woke up the next morning, it was like everything was completely different. The reality that I had known my entire life, it wasn't questionable anymore if I was ill, what was going on, who was behind it, all of that drives you nuts in the beginning. And having full knowledge, being allowed to have that, is like being born again. But you're born into a nightmare. But when you accept the full knowledge and you live accordingly, I can tell you, in my experience, it is absolutely doable. It is. It is a matter of being with it and accepting it. And then you can work around it. And you can really you can still find a quality of life. Not all the way across the board, because that's threatened, and those threats are taken out on your quality of life, and your life itself is being threatened. It's really, like being born again and waking up with a brand new outlook, opinion, everything. And see, now that's also why this program is so effective, because a targeted individual has to rebuild every conclusion that they've ever lived with and viewed life with. They have to rebuild that all from the ground up on a daily basis, a moment-to-moment basis. And that's why the brainwashing is effective. That's why the mental turmoil is so effective. And the program is so in people's hearts, not just their mind, but their hearts, really, because they have to rebuild all their conclusions that their hearts and their minds have always concluded about life and the way the world works. Now, gang stalking is a 2-part program. Electronic harassment is one part, and stalking on foot is the other part. Stalking includes assaults, threats, synthetic realities, drugging. Drugging is a part of electronic harassment. So drugging and poisoning is really all the way across the board. Keeps a TI's campaign going, and creates the long-term effects and damage. It's really hard to get around that. If you have a campaign, those go hand in hand. The fact that you're being poisoned either by electronic harassment or on-foot stalking. The last thing I wanted to talk about, we haven't talked about this yet, confirmation episodes. I want to be clear here. I'm not talking about the confirmation episodes that we talked about in the previous video. There are different kinds of episodes that are put on for you at different times and during your campaign to step it up or cement your brainwashing. It's all very strategic. They follow a very, very strict playbook. But what I wanted to talk about was conform episodes. So there's confirmation episodes, and then there's conform episodes. A conform episode looks very similar to a confirmation episode, but they have 2 different purposes. Well, they share a lot of the same purposes, but this one, they don't. There is one that they don't. So a conform, it's just what it sounds like, to get you to conform, scare you into conforming by admitting yourself into the hospital. That happened to me. I admitted myself one time for 2 weeks in the mental institution because I thought that this was all in my head, and I was trying to come to grips with the fact that I thought that I was mentally ill. Turns out I couldn't get a diagnosis, and that wasn't it. Unfortunately, most TIs go to the mental institution 3-4 times before they are given a confirmation episode and have full knowledge. I absolutely refused. It was hard to get me to go the first time, and I refused the second and third time, even as my life was directly being threatened. Very important to not do that. Do not admit yourself. They won't go away, and it's building more of a case against you. You are furthering your campaign because they are getting the results that they want. They will threaten your life if you do not admit yourself. I can't tell you what decision to make there. I can only tell you my personal decision. And I chose to not admit myself anymore, no matter the consequences. And I felt that that was necessary for the gang stalking movement and getting that into awareness as a whole. I felt that me going to the institution again, knowing full knowledge, but doing it anyway out of fear and wanting safety for me and my family would be, I guess, kind of like how America doesn't support terrorism or America doesn't pay ransoms kind of deal. Condoning it. It's a very, very tough call and a very personal call for each targeted individual. I chose to not return to the mental facility. Also because you're gang stalked the whole time you're in there as well. Another reason for a conforming episode, to get you to conform, is hurting yourself, get you to kill yourself, threaten you into killing yourself. This did happen to me. They create a synthetic reality that looks like they're either going to maybe send you to prison, or you have to kill yourself, or they're going to hurt a family member of yours unless you kill yourself. And they're going to stage it to where it looks like you have no other choice, right? Committing murder. This is a popular one. This is how they get people to carry out hits that they need done. Getting TIs to commit murder or even random murder for publicity of other false issues in the country. And another very, very, very popular one of the most popular ones, is to get you to work for them. Conform episode equals, it's really another name for propositioning you to work for them. Join us or die. Join us or die. Join us or die. That's what you're hearing throughout your whole campaign. Join us or die. Join us or die. And they might not even mean it. Maybe they're just agitating you with that, and then you try and join and they won't let you. Or maybe you do and that's why you were targeted in the first place, perhaps. And the confirming episode, just to go over that again, the differences between the two. We just talked about the conforming episodes. Now we're talking about the confirm episodes. And just really quick, the purpose of that is to show you your suspicions are right. Purpose of fear, control. Sensitization is the biggest reason. It's all sensitization. But you see how each episode and each piece of this program doesn't just do one thing for the program and its order, what it's trying to create, its new order. It does maybe 3 to 6 different things. So it's very, very efficient because each piece takes care of a whole group of pieces. So each tiny piece makes a lot of different pieces run. Okay, that's it for this morning. Again, I appreciate you joining me. The best of luck to you. My thoughts and my prayers are with everybody that is going through this, anyone who's a targeted individual, and which is really everyone. Unfortunately, that is the truth. Please like and share, and leave a comment if you like it, and please subscribe to my page here at Voice Gang Stalking. And you can send me an email as well at voicegangstalking15@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Take care.